We've got news for UFC 300. Strickland versus Du Plessis controversy continues, and the Vince McMahon allegations.
Let's go!
Let's go indeed. We got the whole crew tonight. We are ready. We are in full effect. Freddie is hoodied up, ready to go, chilling. AJ is in his dojo, ready to get it cracking.
My new set, man. Except I'm not prepared for tonight. I was running like around all day. So brief me, man. I don't know anything about the Vince McMahon stuff. I know about Conor McGregor in the new movie Roadhouse. That I know, man. Do you remember the original movie Roadhouse?
No.
With Patrick Swayze?
I mean, no, I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I don't.
One of the best. Are you kidding me?
Thanks.
Man, Patrick Swayze was good, man. He could have kicked ass. That was a great movie. Now you got Jake Gyllenhaal, whatever his name is, as the Patrick Swayze.
I know Jake Gyllenhaal. I've heard of him. I don't know much about Patrick Swayze. I don't know much about Patrick Swayze other than Julian loving him. Man. Julian on Trailer Park Boys, Dirty Dancer.
Man, he's amazing, Patrick Swayze. Thanks. What are you talking about, man? The original badass. Amazing dancer, amazing fighter.
Dirty Dancer.
He's a ladies' man. Not Jake Gyllenhaal, whatever
Patrick
his
name
Swayze.
is.
Patrick Swayze, man.
Oh,
Rest
Julian.
in peace, Patrick. What a great actor, man.
Yeah.
How do you like my new set, guys? Does it look good?
You look great.
I look a little bright there.
You look a little orange, but I like that.
Thanks.
Kind of like Trump, man. I got the Trump look.
Orange
and
is
actually,
my favorite color.
Not, if you look, this was sent to me by our good friend Donald Trump here. Where is it? Where is it? Can you see that? Do you see what it says?
I don't. U.S. Consulate General, Montreal, Canada. That was sent to you from Donald Trump. Donald Trump sent you a mug.
Thanks.
Thanks, Donald.
It's kind of cheap. Donald he Jr. Can afford to send you a little bit more, couldn't he? I thought he was like one of the richest guys.
Listen, that's quality shit here, man.
Not as quality as this. Look at that. Wrestling Uncensored.
What is that?
Even better.
How come we don't got one of those? That is nice, actually. Where's the mug for me and Freddie, man?
All right, I don't know.
What kind of a cheap boss do we have?
I'm no Donald Trump, man. What can I say? I'm no Donald Trump.
So tell me, what's happening, man?
Lior says Jake Gyllenhaal is a good actor, AJ. Shout out to Lior. Shout out to the members checking us out here live on a Thursday night. Angelo Contagonis as well. Good evening.
But is he as good as Patrick Swayze? That's the question.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Just remember, Patrick Swayze. Yeah, Patrick Swayze was like a legend, man. Dirty Dancing. Who could not, like, every strip joint plays like the Dirty Dancing song, and every stripper does that routine. Come on, Dave.
Ghost.
I haven't seen. I haven't seen that either.
Ghost. What? Are you kidding me? You haven't seen The Godfather? You haven't?
I've seen The Godfather.
What
are you talking about? I've seen The Godfather like a million times. What are you talking about?
You haven't seen Star Wars? I know you haven't seen any Star Wars.
No.
And now you haven't seen Ghost?
That's right.
Jesus, man.
Sorry.
Something's not right.
AJ, all those Patrick like I'm hesitating to say it, but I'm gonna say it. I'm not sure it's allowed in these years, but all those Patrick movies are chick flicks, man.
Wow.
But they were actually good chick flicks. Like a guy can actually sit down and watch it and be like, "Oh, this is pretty good." Now the chick flicks that you have today, man, you just it's hard, man. It's hard.
I think we call them rom-coms now.
What?
Romantic comedy? Rom-com.
Is that what they're actually called?
Yeah, you never heard
I've
that?
never heard of that in my life.
Really?
Never, man. That's the first
time I hear
that. I've never heard that.
We live in different worlds,
man.
don't we? It's funny sometimes, eh? Like, we're all friends. We all connect on various levels, But sometimes it's like, what? What do you mean? Rom-com? You never heard that? And I haven't seen any Patrick Swayze movies. It's a different world, AJ. Different world.
Dude, are you kidding me? He was a legend. He was like one of the best. I think he was like the iconic actor of like the 80s and 90s, man.
I think maybe more the 80s, because I don't think the 90s. That's the thing. If he was more iconic in the 90s, I would have caught more Patrick Swayze. Why are we talking so much about Patrick Swayze right now? Because of Roadhouse? You're excited about Conor McGregor, who's in the new Roadhouse movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, and there's MMA in it. But there couldn't have been UFC and MMA in the first Roadhouse movie, right? This is a deviation from the original.
Like in the original Roadhouse, it was like pretty hardcore, man. It was like with bikers and the whole 9 yards. It was good, man.
But he wasn't in the UFC.
MMA in it, but it wasn't called the MMA. No, there was no UFC yet. Well, technically, 92 was the original first UFC.
Since we're talking
93.
about Patrick Swayze, his best movie is definitely Point Break.
Oh, shit. That was a great movie, man. Way to go, Freddie. Could Jake Gyllenhaal pull that off? No.
He's been in some pretty good movies, I think.
They made a remake of Point Break. I forget who was playing in it.
Yeah, but the original one with Patrick Swayze, man, that was good. Makes me want to watch it again and again.
It's weird. I went to the IMDb and like right on the front page is Jake Gyllenhaal. Strange. Trying to find out what he's been in that you may have seen and liked.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
I'm trying to think. I think, wasn't he in The Piano or something?
Wasn't he in... Oh, yeah, he was in your favorite movie, AJ, Brokeback Mountain. You love that.
Was he?
Yeah, you love that movie.
Didn't that guy, like, off himself after, too?
I think that might have been the other guy. Jake Gyllenhaal's still alive, obviously. He's in movies. What happened to Fred? Dog, we lost Fred.
Fred, what happened?
I don't know. Fred.
You're talking about Brokeback Mountain, and Fred is like, get the fuck out, man.
Fred went Undertaker on us. He's like, I'm out of here.
My internet said, fuck it, I'm not here. No, I'm not sure, man. It's done that twice tonight where my modem just reset it. It's weird, so hopefully it's the last time.
Weird.
That's what she said.
What? That didn't even make sense.
So tell me a movie that Jake Gyllenhaal's in, Dave. I'm trying to figure out. Was it The Piano?
Honestly,
Brokeback
I'm
Mountain?
looking at his IMDb right now,
level.
and I can't come up with anything that you may have seen. I don't even think I've seen him in much, really. There's not much that I've seen him in. He was in the Prince of Persia movie.
What?
Zodiac. Brokeback Mountain.
Spider-Man.
He was in a Spider-Man movie, but there have been like so many. He was in Far From Home. No, he wasn't even Spider-Man.
Never heard of it.
I think he was a bad guy. I don't know.
Thanks.
But maybe you'll go see him in Roadhouse and you'll be his biggest fan, AJ. I don't know why you're like attacking Jake Gyllenhaal.
Man. It's hard. Well, listen, if you've seen the original like movie, it's hard, dude. Patrick Swayze and the characters that were in there, it was really good. The only reason I'm going to watch it is because Connor's going to be in it. That's it. I'm going to watch it.
I'm not really interested in it.
I should watch it with Johnny. We should do like a movie review.
You should. You should.
Oh, Johnny just said something.
Oh, Donnie Darko. Yeah, that was a good movie. Johnny.
I have no idea what that
Donnie Darko was good. You didn't see that?
I know Donnie
remember
Brasco,
that.
But Donnie Darko?
Donnie Brasco was a good movie, too. I prefer Donnie Brasco
right,
to
Johnny
Donnie Darko. Yeah, Donnie Brasco was very good. Al Pacino.
Right, man.
Come on.
Jeez.
Pacino, to me, is the best. I think he's the best actor ever. He's my favorite. He's just tremendous.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Robert De Niro. I mean, he's up there. A little controversial lately, but
it's either him or the other. It's like one or the other, and you basically choose. But for most dudes, I think you go for Pacino or De Niro. I go with Pacino.
Yeah, but you know who probably carries above them all is Joe Pesci, man. Nobody could be a Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci was like
Pesci is good too.
The best of all characters, man. Remember Goodfellas? You can't get better than that.
Yeah.
Home Alone, like I said, can't get better than that.
AJ, your audio's not coming from your mic. It was before the show. It was before the show, but now it's not. I don't know. You did something. You like disconnected something. I'm just saying you messed up. AJ's got a new setup, and it's.
Try again.
Oh, see, yeah, there you go.
No, man, you screwed it up.
Did I screw it up?
You screwed it up for me. It was coming from my mic.
Was it?
Disconnected. Dave, yeah, now it is again.
Oh, okay. No, that sounds
it's
better.
It's coming from my mic.
Okay, that sounds better.
Dude, this is the mic you got me, man.
Is it?
Jesus. DiCaprio. DiCaprio's good too, man. Yeah, you got the same mic
right.
with Fred. You got the same one. Yeah, man, come on. DiCaprio's the best, man.
I
Titanic.
I don't want to be the party,
story.
the guy that breaks the party, but this discussion is worse than like who's the best pound for pound MMA fighter. I mean, it's like
no, who's the best pound for pound actor, Fred?
Pointless.
No,
it's
you're
pointless.
bullshit to me. No, give me an answer.
Best pound
Who's your
for
answer?
John
pound.
Jones.
Ooh, that's hard.
John Jones, but he doesn't even act in movies, man. At least say The Rock. Give me somebody that I can. John Cena.
He's been in a lot. He's been in a lot of CCTV like films. I can assure you that. I would say best pound for pound actor of all time would have
Pound
to
for
be
pound.
Johnny Depp.
James Gandolfini.
Oh, that's a good one.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
a good one.
What the fuck
so
are we
Johnny
talking
Depp,
about?
More versatile.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah,
What's
Fred is right. Fred is correct. I'm sorry, Fred. So AJ doesn't know about the Vince allegations, and just him saying he doesn't know, and Lior saying what's going on with Vincent Kennedy McMahon now, like the fact that Lior doesn't know and AJ doesn't know, it is kind of the most breaking news. We are going to get to some UFC 300 news. Kayla Harrison has signed to the UFC, leaving the PFL, and she's going to be fighting Holly Holm at UFC 300, which is a massive fight and a massive signing for the UFC. Apparently, she's already done test weight cuts to 135, so she's all good. She can fight at 35, which is huge for that division that just crowned a new champion this past weekend in Raquel Pennington. So big signing for the UFC there with Kayla Harrison, who is one of the top women's fighters in the world today. So that's very, very good for the UFC and UFC 300. And there's some rumors about what might be the UFC 300 main event that we'll get to. Might involve Israel Adesanya. We'll see. We'll talk about that. But Vince, right? The Vince McMahon story. And I think it ties into our show here tonight. This is the Ringside Report Network. We cover pro wrestling on Friday night with Johnny North and Wrestling Uncensored. But Vince is an executive with the TKO group, which does control the UFC. So Vince McMahon does have a role right now in the UFC. And not only Vince McMahon, guys, but I don't know if you caught the news this week, appointed to the board of directors of TKO, The Rock. Dwayne Johnson. Yeah.
But now,
get the hell out of here, really?
But now every time you're going to say The Rock, I'm going to be wondering, are you talking about Dwayne Johnson or are you talking about one of Vince's toys? Not sure.
Oh, my God. Dear God.
This is getting good? Tell me.
See, the Vince allegations are so horrific that I'm thinking about retiring my horny Vince impression, which is really sad because I love doing horny Vince. I mean, it's such a fun impression. Everybody loves it.
Your mom loves it.
Everybody loves it. The whole family. It's fun for the whole family, horny Vince. Oh, goddamn.
Family fun, man.
So there's a lot that came out. Wall Street Journal put out an article, and there's a lawsuit that's been filed against Vince McMahon. It is a sex trafficking lawsuit, which sounds horrible, and it is.
Jesus.
Yes, Johnny North, that is a good point that we shouldn't forget when we talk about The Rock, that he owns the name and the copyright The Rock now. So all of that is his. Like that was WWE property.
Vince cannot use it for one of his toys.
Yeah, Vince can't use it, and nobody else can use it without paying Big Dwayne some money. So,
Big Dwayne, that might be the name of his toy, though.
Big Dwayne, pal. Oh, God. Oh, my God. The stuff that is coming out, there's so much, and it's so explicit. I'm just going to give a warning before I get into it, because it is explicit, and it is violent, and it is vile, and I don't want to get into all the details. I posted a bunch of stuff on Twitter at Dave Simon MMA that you can go check out, and I'm going to read some of that stuff. It's pretty nuts. It's nuts. So there's a woman who is filing this lawsuit. Her name is Janelle Grant, and she is alleging that she met Vince in 2009 and was looking for a job. Vince gave her a job with the WWE, but it was mostly, I mean, it was mostly a job. I mean, she didn't seem to really have a role in the WWE. Her role in the WWE was to have sex with Vince McMahon and other people that he wanted this woman to have sex with.
And she agreed to it?
Vince is, I mean, I don't know what she is agreeing to, what she's being coerced to do. I mean, there's a
like
lot.
A job interview, like, wasn't clear?
Look, I don't know how the process went, AJ, and that's going to come out in court, okay? And Vince's people are denying it and saying that it's all disgusting and it's not true and all of that, so they're going to defend themselves, and we'll see. But John Laurinaitis, who is the former head of talent relations for the WWE, a former wrestler, is also being named in this lawsuit as a defendant. They're saying in the lawsuit that in May of 2020, Vince defecated on this woman's head during a threesome.
What? Get the hell out of here, man.
And allegedly forcefully used sex toys on her, including dildos named after WWE wrestlers.
Get the hell out of here, man. This is
it's the craziest stuff you could imagine. And there's more because Brock Lesnar is involved. I mean, it doesn't say Brock Lesnar, but it says a former UFC champion who was a longtime WWE champion and star.
I mean, maybe they made a mistake and like it's not former UFC champion, it's just UFC and
but
CM Punk.
Come on. I don't think it seems like just the timeline of events with Brock, it seems like it is Brock.
Think Sable's mad?
Yeah, I think she is mad. I mean, there's so much.
I'll be honest, man.
There's so much.
If this shit happened in 2009, why would you wait this long to bring up these allegations about him shitting on your head?
No.
You know
this
what it
is
sounds like?
This is not 2009, AJ. No, stop. You can't do that. No, it's 2019.
So
First of all, it's not that long ago. Okay. Yeah, it's not 2000.
From what I understand, she had signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
And she's coming out now because she feels that Vince broke it. I'm not sure how he broke it, but he's probably very...
Well, they're alleging that Vince McMahon and some people within the WWE, whoever, leaked her name to a shitbag fucking reporter who put her name out there. And that guy is despised by most people in wrestling. And I'm not even going to mention his name so people can Google him because he's awful. Okay? That's just a fact. If people know who I'm talking about, they know. He's a bullshit man. But they leaked the name to this guy. And he put it out there. So when you do that, yeah, you may have broken the NDA. And here is directly from the Wall Street Journal. In July 2021, the suit said McMahon instructed Grant to create personalized sexual content for a WWE superstar that he was trying to re-sign. The suit didn't name the professional wrestler, but described him as both a UFC fighter and WWE talent. People familiar with the matter identified the wrestler as Brock Lesnar, one of WWE's biggest names. So the Wall Street Journal is confident enough in their reporting to name Brock Lesnar, and Lesnar didn't immediately respond Thursday to requests for comment. No shit. The suit said McMahon shared the explicit photos with the star and informed the star Brock Lesnar and informed Grant that he likes what he sees. Okay, I'm going to do it in Vince's voice so you know what is a quote from Vince. After the star agreed to a new WWE contract, McMahon texted Grant in August 2021 to say that part of the deal was fucking you. Part of the contract, part of Brock Lesnar's contract was sex with this woman, allegedly. That December, McMahon gave Grant's personal cell phone number to the WWE star, the lawsuit said. The wrestler, Brock Lesnar, asked her to send a video of herself urinating. The suit said after she did, he called her a bitch. That same month, the suit said the star expressed a desire to set a play date, but a snowstorm disrupted his travel plans. Snowstorms happen when you're living in northern Saskatchewan, as Brock Lesnar does. Story checks out. I'm not saying that this is true or not. I'm just saying, God damn.
Isn't Brock married?
Yeah. And his wife sued the WWE for sexual harassment.
But she went back after, no?
She did go back. That's when she met Brock, who made sure nobody sexually harassed her in the WWE ever again. But he was apparently down for whatever. There's so much in this, guys. There's so much. Vince was allegedly showing videos and pictures of things that he would do with this woman and to this woman, and just showing it to a bunch of guys around. I mean, there are text messages that are in this lawsuit that Vince has allegedly sent to this woman. I could read you. I mean, it's fucking...
Yeah, let's hear it, man. I'm curious.
God, it's so horrible, man.
Just read it, man. Inquirers want to know, man.
Oh, it's I don't think. Yeah, it's really so
read
horrible.
It,
I don't want to read it.
Is it public stuff, man? Just read it. I'm curious. I want to know, man, and so does like Lior and everybody else, man, because I don't know what's going on. All I know is that this sounds completely fucked.
I don't think I can read it, honestly. I don't think YouTube would allow it. It's like, it's too much, man. It's too much.
How long is it? Is it like paraphrase it?
Well,
Fred's seen some of this,
I'm not
right?
gonna go there.
See, Angelo doesn't want to know. Like, it's just, it's very explicit sex humiliation group stuff. Vince is talking about this woman engaging in sexual relations with multiple men at the same time while he's watching and enjoying it, and it's very graphic.
Vince likes to watch.
At one point, he's talking about 3 large African-American men going at her at the same time, and that seems to be something that he is fetishizing as well in this text message. It's just so graphic, and that seems like a big fixation in some of these texts for him, the fact that they are not just multiple men, but that they're also African-American, which I gotta imagine if you're one of the many African-American wrestlers in the WWE right now, you're going, God damn,
I feel lucky.
This is how this guy was thinking of me. Or maybe you're like, yeah, I know. He asked me to do some shit, and I was like, or I did some shit, or who knows, right? Because Vince, like, this lawsuit is alleging that not only Vince is doing this stuff, but he's passing this information around. Right?
But
he's passing the he's passing the information around. Other people are seeing this, possibly engaging in this behavior. Johnny Ace certainly is being alleged to have engaged in this behavior, and other people are just
okay. Well,
I mean, it is Vince. He is the boss. He is a mad billionaire. But at the same time, like, there are people here that there's a lot of people that are going to go down in the WWE because of this. If this is true and this keeps going the way it's going, it's going to cause a lot of people to fall. A lot of people in Vince's inner circle that are still there, you know. Some names you would definitely recognize. I'm not going to start saying, well, this guy for sure and this guy, but hey, man, you know some of these old-time WWE cronies and you know these Vince loyalists that are still with the company, and you can kind of figure that those guys were seeing some of Vince's text messages.
I mean, how legit are these text messages? I mean, are they like so legit that
if they're in a lawsuit, I don't know.
You know
I mean, who knows?
If it's that open, also, wouldn't Endeavor know? Like, don't they do some sort of background check on Vince before putting him there? I don't know.
WWE was doing their own investigation, and it led to Vince had paid off women, and maybe he used WWE money to do it, so he was going to pay that money back, and it was all fine. That was the WWE's investigation, so I think, they rushed this sale through for a few reasons, and one of the reasons probably was they knew this was coming, and they figured... let's sell this company and make the big money before it's worth far less because of Vince's actions.
The only
Is this
thing
why
that I can
Stephanie resigned?
I mean, Stephanie and Shane are both no longer involved with the company, and they backed out in the past. During the years that all this was going down, Stephanie and Shane both left. Triple H, Stephanie's husband, still in charge. I really wonder where Triple H and Stephanie are in all of this. I mean, there have been rumors that Triple H and Stephanie broke up, which, given what the hell is going on with Vince, who knows? Maybe Triple H sided with Vince, stayed with Vince. I mean, he's still in the WWE. Stephanie is not. Who knows what's going on? I don't think... I mean, I saw Stephanie was ringside at a WWE show not that long ago, so I don't really believe that Stephanie and Triple H are broken up, but, there's just a lot going on there, and I wonder what was going on behind the scenes throughout this whole time. There's apparently a Netflix documentary series that's being made about Vince McMahon that's constantly changing because the story of Vince is changing, and it's changing now even more. It's so crazy. Some of these texts, I don't want to read. I don't. Here's one. Here's one.
Yep.
I'll give you some, AJ, because I know you're waiting for the details. This allegedly from July 2020. I just passed my phone around to a bunch of guys on the tech crew. They were screaming, "Oh my God, she's fucking beautiful. Look at that ass. I'd like to get that." I paused to count out loud how many guys there were. 12. I then said, "Okay, there's 12 of you, and she would love to fuck each and every one of you at one time." The guys cheered in brackets. Vince is writing this shit in brackets. These Vince texts are fucking wild. But she will only do it if she takes 3 at the time. That brought a huge reaction. Big pop. He's booking sex fantasies. It's like wrestling. It's fucking nuts, man. That's why I believe this shit, because it feels like Vince. It rings of Vince, and I have studied this man for most of my life. I know so much about him, and seeing these texts and hearing it in Vince's voice, I go, yeah, sounds about right. That's why I believe this shit, and it sickens me that this fucking guy was doing all of this, and other people were aware of it, and it was being covered up because he's Vince. Who fucking knows? And Brock, fucking Brock? What? He's asking for piss videos? What the fuck is going on here, man? What is happening?
I don't know, man. It sounds like a setup towards Brock, in my opinion. But you never know what happens.
You hope it is. You hope you never
is.
Believe anything, AJ. You always think it's a setup, though, man. Come on, dude. Be cool, man. You gotta be easy on this, AJ, because you don't want to be wrong. Okay, you don't want to be wrong on this.
You're absolutely right. But I'm saying the further this goes into investigation and people where people can back up a lot of this storyline per se, is it fact or fiction? We'll know like in the next little while. But what it comes down to is that McMahon at this point right now might have one foot out the door from Endeavor and the TKO group.
Yeah, he's gone. They gotta get rid of Vince for sure.
Yeah, but what's going to happen is that he'll probably step down till they go through all these allegations, and then see from there if it's factual or not. And if it is factual, this guy can face lawsuits and jail time and whatnot. But where I'm getting at is don't be surprised to see a guy like Dana White putting his other foot into the doors of the WWE. Mark my word. That might happen.
No, I don't think Dana has any interest in the WWE, and he's not really at that level in the TKO group. They let him handle the UFC stuff, and they've got pro wrestling experts to handle the WWE. Vince isn't really involved in the day-to-day operations of the WWE anymore. They've taken him away from that for a little while now. Triple H is running the show, and Nick Khan is running the business, and they seem to be doing a hell of a job. I don't know if you saw, but WWE this week also signed a $5 billion streaming deal with Netflix for Monday Night Raw and a lot of their other shows internationally. Over 10 years, $5 billion. That's $500 million a year
even
from
the
Netflix.
Network going there. I read that the network shows might be going there.
Yeah, all the network, all the pay-per-views, WrestleMania, all that stuff internationally is going to be on Netflix starting in 2025, so that includes Canada. But in the United States, I think it's still on Peacock for the time being because they have a contract that I don't know when it runs till, but I think it's still on Peacock, like their premium live events. But those are going to move to Netflix for us next year, which is massive. It's a huge deal for them. They're doing huge business. They're doing very well. Everything's going great for the WWE. They have the Royal Rumble on Saturday, and then the Vince bomb drops.
It's crazy, man, all at the same time.
Yeah,
Big deal, the scandal. I mean, makes you wonder if it's, I don't know, man. It's just weird timing,
AJ's got his conspiracy hat on. He's ready for the conspiracies. Look, it's horrific. There are more details that I don't want to get into because they're so explicit and gross. And I've already told you some pretty disgusting stuff. I talked about Vince pooping on heads during a threesome and Brock Lesnar getting pee-pee videos. And now I'm saying there's other stuff that I won't even talk about. Like, imagine how gross this stuff gets.
It's fucked. There's no doubt about it. If it's real, man, this is some weird shit, man. And you know what?
Goes beyond anything.
You figure a guy, like that's why with Brock Lesnar, with so much media attention that he gets, and he's always in the spotlight, and McMahon himself as well. Like, would these guys go to that extent?
How about this?
To be easily exposed with some weird shit. Like,
how about this, AJ? Man. Who knows? Like, we don't know what's true, what's not. I mean, all the details. Who knows what really went down? Something happened, and I'm believing a lot of it because it sounds very plausible. A lot of it is very plausible, knowing Vince. 12-15% says this is exactly how you figured Vince was. And yeah, exactly. Somebody online today said a man who called himself the genetic jackhammer. Like, we're on TV, we're surprised he's doing this behind the scenes. And this is something I've always said. Like, he talked about his son Shane. He said, the product of my semen, my son Shane. I've got balls the size of grapefruits. I'm the genetic jackhammer. Like, he was molesting some of the female talent on television as part of stories. Like, what the hell do you think he was doing behind closed doors? I'm not surprised that any of this was happening. I'm just disappointed. I thought, maybe he was doing some greasy stuff. I just didn't expect it to be this fucking greasy. It's just too far. It's like, God damn, I knew you were doing some shit. And it's like, all right, cool. Maybe you got a couple girlfriends on the side. You're doing whatever. You're a billionaire. You're not fucking your wife. You're fucking other chicks. Fine. I get it. But this is not that. This is like criminal behavior. This is bad. You're being charged with sex trafficking, dude. This is fucking crazy. This is next level.
Crazy, man.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
really
it's a civil suit right now, man. He's not being charged with anything.
Well, isn't it like a sex trafficking something? Is it civil only?
Yeah, it's a civil suit.
Okay. Yeah. Goddamn, pal. It's a lot.
So much drama in the WWE. Crazy, man.
Vince is denying it. Vince is denying the allegations.
They announced this week's season. They announced this week season 5, I think, of Dark Side of the Ring. Like in 5 or 6 years, man, there'll be a whole season on Vince McMahon, man. They'll be able to do 20 episodes of Dark Side of the Ring just on Vince McMahon.
That Netflix series is going to be crazy. I want that. Let me ask you this. I think Brock Lesnar is done with WWE. I don't think he can show his face there again. I think it's over.
I don't know, man.
No. The fans won't accept him.
You gotta see if it,
See,
But
Fred,
first of all,
that's
you
the
gotta
reaction
see
I'm
how
looking
you
for.
like
Because
funny.
the fans won't accept him. You know where the fans will accept him? The UFC, baby. They don't give a fuck in the UFC. They will welcome Brock Lesnar with open arms. Brock Lesnar is going to make Sean Strickland look like nothing. He's going to come in and be like, I got all these allegations. Look at me. And he could fight and make money, and the fans will love him anyways, right? So I think he could maybe fight now, but I don't think he'll ever wrestle in the WWE again. I think that was it. I think that's a wrap for the Beast.
I think he
but
gets he comes back, man.
I
He
bet you he
survives
doesn't.
this. What did he do so bad, man? Maybe allegedly had an affair. Like, other than that, he received some videos, man. It's not as if he's the one that filmed the videos.
Dog,
I mean, if your boss
got
is
a-
like,
he
I'll
got-
send you a video.
He got a woman in his contract. Okay?
It's
That's-
not in the contract. I would bet
Whoa.
anything that it's not
I
in the
mean,
contract.
Vince is saying it's in the contract.
It's not in the
I
contract.
wouldn't
Dude,
believe Vince
I
that
don't-
much.
It's not
Listen,
written down, but it's
I mean-
in the contract, Fred. That's you can't come back from that. You can't receive a person in a contract and people be like, yeah, he's not so bad. It's over, dude. I'm telling you, people are not going to accept Brock. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but
He'll
it's
survive
got to be
this.
defined exactly what that
No, he
means.
won't.
Like, you got to look at.
I bet you
You know,
Brock
you gotta
fights
look at
before
the contract.
SummerSlam.
Yo.
At the latest at SummerSlam.
People are going to be making piss jokes about this guy until he dies. Forever piss jokes.
That's
Forever.
good, man.
It's over.
Look, man, people have survived scandals before, man.
President Clinton, man, ran a country.
Marv Albert. I mean, there's been a lot of scandals out there.
Yeah, I mean, Brock
First
may
of all-
outlive his. I mean, this may not end Brock as far as a guy that people revere as far as what he's accomplished, but for his pro wrestling career in WWE, I think it's over.
don't
I think
know
it's
about
over.
that, man.
I think it's over.
I mean, it would be a shame to go down like in flames like this. But isn't it interesting how The Rock is there, and all of a sudden, there's always a rivalry between The Rock and Brock. Like
What?
in my opinion, I'm looking at it from another perspective. Like there's always like who is like, I don't know, man. I just find that there's something not right
No.
about this whole picture.
I don't think
Something
there was ever
doesn't make
really a
sense.
rivalry with The Rock and Brock Lesnar. I don't think there was a rivalry at all with those guys. Rock actually put Brock over at a young age and helped Brock become a star. So I don't think there was ever a rivalry, AJ. But of course, I mean, who would know more about pro wrestling
So who's
and
winning
The Rock,
Rumble?
me or
Gabe?
you? I mean, obviously you, right, AJ? What do I know about wrestling? I just
Who's
listen,
winning
man, I
the
got a
Rumble?
couple of good
AJ
stuff.
then.
yeah, AJ.
Who's winning the Rumble?
Rumble?
AJ.
Yeah,
Brock Lesnar,
you
he's
fucking
coming in.
holy shit!
Not participating.
Imagine if they did that; it would be the craziest thing ever. It'd be horrible.
You never know, man. It could be like the setup of all setups, man. Just
It'd be the
like
worst.
something is. I don't know, man. Something is not right with this whole picture.
The
I'm
odds
curious to see
have
where it's gonna
Gunther,
lead
I
to.
think, as a favorite right now.
That's the rumor. Yeah, Gunther is the rumor to win the Rumble because there was a Sports Illustrated story that came out that said Gunther's going to wrestle Seth and Punk's going to wrestle Cody at Mania. So people put two and two together and said, "Oh well,
That's what I
Gunther's
want.
going to win the
That's
Rumble."
That's the scenario I want. Fuck Cody. Fuck CM Punk. They're both jabronis. Losers
Yeah.
from a shit show.
Yeah, I think Cody and Punk, you could do shit show. That's good. I think you could do Cody versus Punk at Mania. I think that's fine. Gunther, if you want to elevate Gunther to wrestle Seth, I think that's great. I just didn't expect them to elevate Gunther to that level, but I think they definitely should because he's fantastic. He's so great, that guy. You like Gunther?
Of course, man.
Yeah. Everybody likes Gunther.
That jacket toss is like perfect. I don't know how he does it, but it's perfect.
He's cool. He's believable, Like, everything he does, you're like,
I
yeah,
have the best chops right now.
yeah. AJ, you know who Gunther is?
Yeah, of course, man. Remember we were watching it together. I'm like, ooh, this guy looks scary.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like this guy. He kind of
Big
reminds
Austrian.
me of that Russian guy in Rocky. Remember when Rocky fought the Russian? Kind of like that feel, you know?
Yeah, he's got like the look of a bad guy in a movie, you know? And the way he walks and the way he talks and the way he wrestles, like, he's perfect. He is perfect in that role. He's really, really good. He's been great for many years, and now he's reached this point in the WWE where it feels like they're going to push him to the top, which is really cool.
At Mania, though?
Why not?
Like, Mania is
it's
a place
2 nights.
for...
It's 2 nights. And if they have Gunther and Seth, okay, it's not a big world title match, but that world title doesn't mean shit. The real world champion is Roman Reigns, and he's going to wrestle The Rock. And the real main event, which is night 2 on the Sunday, Roman, Rock, main event for the real world title. Like, yeah, that's the big match. And then if you add Cody and Punk to night 1, you've got 2 big matches on night 1. I'm sure they can add some other big matches, maybe LA Knight versus Logan Paul, something like that, you know?
Cody and Punk will figure a way to eliminate each other at the Rumble.
Yeah, probably. That's what it seems like. That's the rumor. And if the Vegas odds have Gunther as the favorite to win, I mean, I could see it.
I think it was tied with Punk and Cody. Like those 3 are the ones considered.
Like, I could see Punk winning too. Punk was my pick up until this week, and now the Gunther promo on Raw, I kind of go, well, maybe the Sports Illustrated story comes out, the odds are changing. Makes me think maybe WWE's going in the Gunther direction, but it could go with Punk. I really don't think Cody's going to win. I don't think he's going to win back-to-back years. I think that would be crazy. It doesn't really make sense to me. But I could see Punk winning. But I would rather Gunther win. I think he deserves it more. So
Lior said it. Ivan Drago. That was his name. Drago, man. Gunther?
Yeah.
Drago?
Lior says,
Very
I thought
similar,
the SI report was debunked. Yeah, I mean, people are saying that it's not, that those matches are rumored and they're being talked about, but they're not set in stone for WrestleMania. The Seth and Gunther and then Punk and Cody, it's like, it's being talked about. But, I mean, it's possible that the winner of the Royal Rumble hasn't been decided yet. You know? I mean, they may decide on Saturday morning. They may be thinking Gunther or Cody, and they haven't made a final decision, right? I mean, you can make that decision before the match starts.
Gunther's plus 150, CM Punk plus 150, Cody Rhodes plus 225, and The Rock plus 900.
No.
Drew McIntyre plus 1,000.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think it's between Gunther and Punk. Interesting that they're even in the odds. And I thought Sports Illustrated doesn't exist anymore. Didn't Sports Illustrated stop? I thought it was over.
I think it's the magazine version. The online is going to continue. I think they're stopping the magazine version.
Okay. I saw that. I was like, that sucks, man. Sports Illustrated? It's been around forever.
Nah, fuck
classic.
Those days are gone, man.
Recently, they got caught writing some AI stories, man.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's not the same sport. It's not the same Sports Illustrated no more.
Okay. So Vince McMahon, it's terrible, and I think that's it for Vince. But I keep saying that, and then he never just goes away.
You said that last time. What was it? The last thing that happened.
He never goes away. It was like
a lawsuit.
People forgive.
Wasn't there a law?
People forgive far more with these guys, Vince and Dana. Like, when you're an executive, you're forgiven. When you're talent, you're tossed aside. Like if Vince were a comedian or an actor, it would be a wrap for Vince. But because he's like an executive and a billionaire, it's like, we'll find a spot for you. These guys, they protect their own, but they don't protect the talent. That's what happens, man. People get canceled. People get ousted from society. It's usually the talent. It's not usually the executives. That's why Vince can do all this shit and still be an executive. Dana could slap his wife on camera on TMZ. Everybody sees it, and he can go around and still be the president of the UFC. It's like the executives, they get a different look than the talent. If you're a fighter and you're caught slapping your wife on TMZ, UFC might not bring you back, but if you're Dana, it's a different deal because the executives, the bosses, the money, they protect the money.
I mean, John Jones wasn't caught on camera on TMZ, but he's still there. Oh, I don't know, man.
He wasn't caught on camera.
Look, as far as Vince, if there's no like criminal charges, I think he'll survive, man. People will be offended for a couple of weeks and they'll forget. There'll be another story that will make you forget. And Vince is not in front of the camera. It's not as if we think of Vince every day now. We only think of Vince when these stories come out. Because when do you actually talk about Vince McMahon these days? Like, he's not that important. His role is more of a office person or whatever. He's not an on-screen personality no more. And so I think he could survive that. We'll see. As long as there's no criminal charges. And look, if everything that is alleged, she was consentful, I mean, yeah, she could sue him. And I hope if she wins, great. But I mean, it's not illegal. Like, some adults have some freaky habits.
Good point. Some of them dress up as like cats and dogs, man, with litter boxes. You're absolutely right, Freddie. I agree with you. True.
I don't know what you're saying there, but you know what it's
I'm talking about.
Not really.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, it's pretty horrible stuff, and yeah, going into Royal Rumble weekend is definitely not ideal for the WWE. Yeah, pretty bad. Pretty bad stuff, and Johnny North is saying that, this is great because now we don't have to talk about it tomorrow. Guess again, Johnny. We'll definitely talk about it tomorrow.
And more in depth, Johnny, because I mean, me and AJ are not the experts on the subject, so we expect a lot from you to help us understand the situation. Like, tune in tomorrow. Johnny is gonna enlighten you on the subject. He's the man with the info. He's the man. He's the wrestling man.
He's going to go in like a lawyer for O.J. Simpson, man. He's going to break it down in detail. If the glove don't fit, you got to quit.
You must quit.
You got to quit. Good job with the quote, AJ. I'm going to bet Johnny North.
I think I remember everything.
No, I'm going to bet
Johnny don't fit. You must quit.
That's right. I'm going to bet Johnny North is believing a lot of this stuff because it seems pretty believable if you followed Vince for any amount of time. AJ has not followed Vince. That's why he just denies, because he denies these types of things for some odd reason. It's just where he is.
I don't deny it. I think he's going to survive it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he may survive it. He may. I mean, it seems like a civil suit that he's going to have to pay some money in. And then, I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Do you think this is just
he shaved the mustache.
You never know, Dave.
I saw a picture of him recently. He doesn't have the mustache anymore. He still looks like a ghoul with that weird jet black hair.
I mean, if you're going to face some, whether it's civil or criminal charges for sexual activities, you should probably shave that mustache. I think that's a smart decision.
Yeah,
or just for PR, period, also.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not sure how he survives this one, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. UFC 297 just happened on the weekend. There was a lot of controversy.
What controversy?
I mean the scorecard mostly.
Why? What's the controversy?
People were mad that Sean Strickland lost.
But I think 99% of the people mad would agree that the fight was close. Like, nobody actually thinks that Sean Strickland dominated. Like, maybe a couple of crazy drunks out there believe Sean Strickland dominated, but most reasonable people know this fight was close, man. And in close fights, man, decisions don't always go your way. I had 3 rounds for Strickland, but I'm not going to come here and yell robbery because it wasn't a robbery, man. It was a tight fight, man. Congrats, Dricus, man.
Yeah, I mean, apparently some people are very upset. John Anik, who does the play-by-play for the UFC, he says that he thought Dricus won the fight, and he said that, and people came out at him with some really disrespectful comments, and he's thinking about leaving MMA because of it, because people are just so ruthless. Maybe it's the Sean Strickland fan base. I don't know.
Yeah, man, welcome to sports fans, man. Sports fans are crazy. But you know what that shows? It shows that Sean Strickland is a star. and that
He is,
I
man.
think is not deniable, man. Sean Strickland has a fan base that's humongous, and people care, and people want to see him, and people want more Sean Strickland. So
Dave,
I think that's not deniable.
Freddie, and I'm gonna tell you, Antoinette was at the show live, and she kind of like said some comments, and she said, "Man, the crowd that was there was thunder for Strickland. I mean, not only at the fight, but everything leading up to the fight. You know, fight week and everything. The guy has a strong fan base, not only in Toronto. I mean, throughout North America. And I saw that John Anik was like pissed that he was ready to leave the UFC and whatnot. But Freddie's right. Sports fans are wild. I mean, from tailgate parties to you name it, man.
I mean, yeah.
It gets intense.
But
this is what you expect. You're not at the opera. Come on.
You got some Boston Red Sox crazy fans, some Yankee fans, crazy fans, some Green Bay like every sport has their crazy fans, Real Madrid and all that will say, like in soccer this week again, man, there was a goalie that was racially abused, man. You get these fucking nutheads sports fan in every sport, man, that are
in Italy,
not even human, man. They're just like scum, unfortunately.
Some of these people, people need to take it easy, and I guess they really went at John Anik, but I don't know. People did seem upset about the Sean Strickland loss. Like, I'm a big Yankee fan. I'm not going to say anything too horrible about people, although, I mean, not publicly anyway.
Well, listen, sometimes, people can get upset at you with whatever you say. It happens to us on our show, man. People can agree with us or disagree. I mean, like, it got pretty heated for Dave, too, on Saturday, man, for, sort of things. But the bottom line is this.
What happened?
Your front line and center I'm just saying people didn't always agree with, like, the comments that were being placed on our live watch along. But the thing is this, shit happens, man. But we're there to take the heat because we're talking about the fights. John Anik is front row and center. For sure he's going to get, like, some heat. But you can't take it, like, personally because, you know what, wherever you go, it's just like Freddie said, in some European soccer matches, you got to be careful where you sit. You cannot even cheer for the team that you want. And if you're sitting in the wrong side, you better start cheering for that team because things could get pretty deadly at times. I mean, people are hardcore. But John Anik has to realize one thing. You're going into an arena that's pro-Strickland, and they're wanting Strickland to win. And it was a bad night for Canadians altogether. They were 2-8 by the time it was all said and done. It was horrible for Canadian male fighters. But the bottom line is people were there to see Strickland. He didn't win. It was close. I was with Freddie. I gave it 3-2, man. I thought Strickland won that fight. And a lot of people do. I mean, Chael Sonnen broke it down saying that Dricus won. Dave took Dricus for the win. But the bottom line is it's so close, like Fred said, that, it's so close. It could have went either or. And people would still probably
but people going crazy and people getting so upset and I mean, I had a conversation with our buddy Alan who was like calling me all sorts of names and we're friends, and he was saying, Alan. But that's Alan, I mean, but
Alan's just
but he wouldn't
emotional midget.
Well, that's true, right? He couldn't handle the truth of what had happened, and his mind was just blown. He was taking Strickland before the fight, and I feel like there's a lot of that, and I will be the bigger man and admit my own guilt and my own biases. I think that if you picked Strickland before the fight, you scored the fight for Strickland. And if you picked Dricus before the fight, you may have scored the fight for Dricus. And I think that I may have been guilty of that. Other people may have been guilty of that on the other side. Exactly. Well, Fred is the only level-headed man on this show, and that's why we need Fred on the show to keep us grounded and keep us sane, because Fred is the only one who actually picked Dricus to win but then scored the fight for Strickland. I thought the fight was extremely close. I scored the first and fifth rounds for Sean Strickland. I scored the second, third, and fourth rounds for Dricus. Most people scored the first and fifth for Sean, the third and fourth for Dricus, and the second round, some people scored for Strickland, some people scored for Dricus. And if you scored the fight 3-2, it's 3-2 either way. And that third and deciding round was the second round where it was a toss-up and you could really reasonably score it for either man. If that fight ended With Sean Strickland as the winner, I'd say, yeah, fair enough. I guess they gave him the second. If that fight ended as a draw, because they scored the second a draw, and they gave 2 rounds to each guy, I would have been like, yeah, fair enough. That fight was real close. They gave it to Dricus, and I say, okay, yeah, that's kind of how I scored it watching it. I thought the second was real close. In fact, I remember when we were watching the fight on Saturday night, you can watch our watch along again. You could watch the replay on our YouTube channel. I was saying, like, at the end of the second round, I go, that was close, man. I think that was Dricus' round, though. And you guys are like, nah, Strickland won that round. And I'm like, I don't know, man. And you're like, no, Dave, you're wrong. Dricus did not win. And then I was like, okay, it was close. Maybe Strickland won, I guess. And then, so I kind of like sided with you, right? And then I saw the Twitter scores were coming up on the screen, and they were like, Dricus round 2, Dricus round 2. I was like, you guys bullied me into picking Sean Strickland in round 2. I'm going back on my score, and I'm calling it for Dricus in round 2. So even I, watching the round, was kind of like, wavering, toss-up round. I initially was like, I guess Dricus, and you guys were like, no, Strickland. I was like, okay, Strickland, I guess, guys. I'm outnumbered. I'll go with you. But then the Twitter scores emboldened me, and I was like, well, I'm not alone here, guys. Dricus, okay, Dricus. And that was the round that decided the entire fight. And that's how it was on our watch-along. Like, it was very close. And that's, for anybody to scream robbery or get upset or start hurling insults at anyone over how they scored the fight, I think is immature.
Of course.
Listen, and you got to look, even though the fight went Dricus' way, and I'm happy for him, he's the first South African champion, to be there. There was a lot of fan support for him. The country was behind him. It's great for the sport. The bottom line is it's great for the UFC. They've opened up another, fan base where they can probably have a UFC event in South Africa at some point, and it'll probably be a sold-out event. And you know what? It's great. But I also got to look at Strickland. Strickland fought a good fight. And, he was consistent, in my opinion. He didn't look like, okay, he kind of started to falter a bit in the fourth where he was a little bit off. And I'm like, oh, man, his gas tank looks a little depleted there. But throughout the fight, he stayed composed. He didn't do anything that was dirty. He didn't do anything that was illegal. He was focused. He was laser focused on Dricus. And he fought a good fight. It was a great fight, and I thought it was a great main event fight, and it delivered. Yes, I would have liked to see, maybe Strickland's hands being raised because it would have been great for Canada. But overall, man, the
great
UFC
for
wins
Canada?
because
He's not Canadian.
Well, you know what? With the fan support that was there, Dave, man,
but he's not Canadian. He's about as American as it gets.
I know.
He's really not Canadian, AJ.
I know, man. I know, Dave. I know that, but there was so much Canadian fan
He's here to
support
save
for this
us,
guy.
Dave.
If he's here to save us, we are fucked. Let me tell you.
Well, you know what? Look, regardless, it was a good fight.
Me and AJ are going to
I
start a
have
petition for him to be in the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame.
Okay. I mean,
yeah,
who cares?
We could do that. Him and Gretzky,
Sure.
man, side by side, man.
Gretzky, Lemieux, St. Pierre, Strickland.
Jean St. Pierre. Well,
Yeah.
George was at the fight, man. But I like to hear what he said about his, thoughts about that fight. But I'll tell you one thing, Dave. I think they're going to redo this fight. I think there's going to be a rematch.
They're not.
I think it might happen in
Not right now.
Listen,
They're not happening.
Not
It's not
right now,
happening. Dana said it's not happening. They're not doing the immediate rematch. Dana
How
White
many
also
times-
scored the fight for Sean Strickland, and despite that
Yep.
fact, he's still not given Strickland an immediate rematch, which I think should tell you something about his drawing power. If Sean Strickland was a huge draw, like you guys are saying he's got all these fans and all of this, and
Yeah,
he's a
man.
big draw,
Great
if he was a massive draw, don't you think the UFC would rush
I'm
him back to a
not
title
saying
shot?
his fans have money. I'm not saying his fans have money, but he definitely
He's got
has
some
a
broke
following.
ass fans. He's got some broke
Yeah,
ass
man,
fans that are loud on
Dave,
Twitter that steal the
No,
fights.
you're
right?
wrong. Listen, man, he was trending on
I
all
mean,
social
Let's
platforms.
be fair.
man.
A lot
He
of
was,
fans steal the
number one.
fight.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Dave,
he's not.
Dave, he was
Yeah.
he was powerful. No, you're wrong on that.
He's
He
not
was
drawing
trending
money.
in every
Well,
platform.
Okay,
Listen,
well
they had
then
a sold-out event in Toronto.
explain this. Explain this. Why wouldn't he main event UFC 300? And why is there talk already of Dricus turning around despite just fighting last weekend, fighting in April, the second Saturday in April at UFC 300 in the main event against Israel Adesanya? Why is that the fight and not Sean Strickland if Sean Strickland is such a big draw? I think he may be a draw, but he's not as big a draw as Israel Adesanya, and that's why they're not giving Strickland the immediate rematch, because Adesanya is a former champion and he's a bigger star, and Adesanya versus Dricus, they've got that storyline there, the battle of who's more African, Izzy or Dricus, and they can do that for UFC 300, the return of Adesanya. You know, if Strickland would have won, I think they may have done a Strickland Adesanya rematch at UFC 300, but the more time goes on and the more you hear Dana talk about UFC 300 and potential main events, Dricus was brought up as turning around and fighting again at UFC 300, and Dana seemed to like the idea, which makes me think that they're working on an Israel Adesanya fight for the main event there, Dricus and Izzy.
Of course, Dana loves the idea of having his champion fight on a short turnaround. I mean, Dana's always wanting his guys to fight as quickly as possible. I'll be honest, I know they're expected to announce another fight, and I hope they do another big fight, a title fight or something, but I'd be surprised if Dricus or Sean Strickland fights on that fight, man. That was a 5-rounder they went through this weekend, man. Both guys took some damage. I mean, April is in 2.5 months, like, basically, you know. We're talking about like 10 weeks about that this fight would take place. So I think both guys won't be part of UFC 300.
I think Dricus is just going to get paid to do the job. I think Dricus is going to show up. He's going to get paid. He's going to main event UFC 300, which is cool, and he's going to lose to Israel Adesanya because it's not a wise fight to take on short notice.
Well, listen, man, a training camp, man, 8 to 10 weeks, man, this is where it starts. And the thing is this, it's going to be hard. And I think there is a storyline between Israel and Dricus to see who's the real African champion. But, you know, like I just saw a comment from Johnny. Johnny says a split decision should be automatic rematch. And in boxing, like the champion always has, which Strickland was, the opportunity to have a rematch. So I find that unfair. If you're a champion and you lose, especially to a split decision, it wasn't like clear-cut win. It wasn't clear-cut. And even in boxing, it has to be a clear-cut, win to take away the title. This is not clear-cut.
Man.
Come on. Get over it.
You know, it doesn't matter if we lost, man. I agree that the champ...
Just like Sean Strickland crying on a podcast. Look at you. Crying like your hero, Sean Strickland.
Yeah, right.
Keep crying, baby.
I'm agreeing with Johnny, man.
Keep crying.
I'm agreeing with Johnny, man. Our good old Johnny North has a point, and he's right.
Goddamn, pal. I'm going to send Brock Lesnar after you.
He's going to pee on my head, man.
Fucking right.
Imagine that guy peeing, he'd be like a buffalo.
Fucking horrible.
Ever see a buffalo piss?
Imagine.
Jesus. Damn. Like a fire hose. But I'm going to tell you this.
No fucking rematch for Sean Strickland. He's got to fight again. He loves fighting so much. Fight again. Beat fucking... You know what fight I want to see? Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev. Let those two motherfuckers fight. Khamzat's out here saying, Dana promised me title shot. He's not giving me title shot. This is bullshit. I'm like, dude, you fought Kamaru Usman. He's a 170. You're not a 185. Fight somebody in the top 5 at 185 and then come back and talk about a title shot. Fight Sean Strickland. If Khamzat and Sean Strickland can fight each other, the winner of that fight should be a clear-cut #1 contender for the winner of Dricus and Adesanya. And I believe Dricus Adesanya is a done deal. If not at UFC 300, then whenever. That's the next UFC middleweight title fight. Adesanya's coming back. He's going to fight Dricus. It's going to happen at some point this year. And I think the winner should fight the winner of a Khamzat Chimaev Sean Strickland fight. That shit would be good. That's a good fight.
Look, I'll be honest. If Israel comes back in the form that we know Israel to be, I mean, he needed to take some time off. A lot of things were happening to him. But Israel is at a level that these guys are not. Israel can beat each one of these guys, hands down. if he's in top form, Israel will be the king again, man.
I don't know, man.
I think he made
the way Sean
a
dominated
decision,
Israel, and we can't forget that. And DDP's a freak athlete also. And if anything, DDP's a better athlete. I always liked Izzy because I thought Izzy was an incredible athlete, like way better than Anderson Silva. Athletically, like Izzy was something. And now you got Dricus that's probably even a better athlete. Like this guy's freakish in his power, in his hop, in his movement, and also, I don't know, man. I think Izzy, it's hard, man. It's hard to get back on top. Once you've been on top, and he's done it. He lost to Pereira and got back on top, but I think this one's going to be even harder, man. Right now, I'm leaning with Dricus keeping the title if they're fighting again.
Even if it's at UFC 300, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
short notice, and they might convince Dricus. They give him some money. They go, "This is the biggest event in UFC history. You can be the main event." They may.
But at the same time, when did Izzy fight? Was that like in September or August, something like that? And remember, like he wanted some time off. So if anything, Izzy right now is probably not he's probably not training like a guy that should be training for a title fight. And yeah, he has 10 weeks in front of him. But it's not as if he would start his training camp with an edge over Dricus. I wouldn't see it that way. So, yeah, maybe the quick turnaround's a problem for Dricus. But I think Izzy also has some things to prove, man. The way he got dominated, and he needs to come back strong, and he needed the break. So I'm not convinced, man. I'm gonna go with Dricus right now today.
Wow.
We'll see. We'll see. I think I would pick Adesanya if it happens in April. But if it happens in the summertime, yeah, maybe Dricus. Maybe Dricus. He put on a hell of a performance. We predicted at the beginning of the year all the champions who would be champion at the end of 2024. Guys, we have some work to do. The championship needs to move around because none of us predicted Dricus, or it's actually Dricus Du Plessis. It's Dricus Du Plessis. Yeah. It's Dricus or Dricus Du Plessis. None of us predicted him to be the 185 champion by the end of the year. AJ thought it would be Sean Strickland. Fred predicted Israel Adesanya, which could happen. And I had Khamzat Chimaev, which I guess was like a long shot pick, and I think it could still happen. I think they might rush Khamzat to the title shot at some point. We'll see.
Look, man, I mean, like, even with my prediction with Strickland, I mean, he's still there. I mean, he's still relevant. I mean, anything can happen in the next, year.
Yeah.
And we can see Strickland back at the top. I mean,
yeah.
It's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a nice lead up to see who holds that crown by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think he could definitely make his way back to a title fight. I think he's a fight or two away, right? I think one fight away. And he likes to fight, right? So, yeah, I think Strickland will fight for the title again. But, he lost a big fight, so he's going to have to work his way back up. And I know a lot of people are upset about that.
I saw Lior was saying, I didn't think it was a boring fight. I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it from my end, the fight. I thought it was exciting. I didn't know which way it was going.
It was okay.
But I didn't think it was like, I mean, it wasn't like, kind of like a Ferguson fight, that's for sure. But it was a very strategic fight, in my opinion. I didn't find it boring. I found it like really like, well played out from both fighters.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. I thought it was like a pretty good fight. I didn't think it was a fight of the year, anything like that. It was what it was.
No, it wasn't definitely fight of the year. But we had everything that you wanted. I mean, a stand-up game, a ground game, a defensive game on both ends. I mean, it was. I found it more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
I was hoping for more. I was hoping for more fireworks. Okay. UFC has signed Kayla Harrison. She is a former PFL champion who has fought the majority of her career in PFL at 155 pounds. They kind of created the division there for her. And now she's going to fight in the UFC at 135 pounds. and apparently she's able to make the weight. She did suffer a loss in November 2022, a decision loss to Larissa Pacheco. She bounced back November of last year where she beat Aspen Ladd. She is 33 years old with a 16-1 pro MMA record, most of those fights in the PFL. What makes Kayla Harrison especially impressive is the 2 Olympic gold medals that she holds in judo. In 2012 and 2016, she won gold medals in judo for the United States, which is pretty amazing. I think she is the first American to win a gold medal in judo?
I think so. She was a former partner of Ronda Rousey. I mean, they were from the same team, obviously going through the Olympics. If I'm not mistaken, it's the first one.
First American, not even first American woman. She is the first American to win a gold medal in judo, doing so in 2012 and then repeated in 2016. So she's a very impressive athlete, and she's going to be fighting Holly Holm. And Holly Holm is an interesting first test for her because, she's a grappler. You talk about Ronda Rousey, the judo and that whole style. And now she's going to be fighting Holly Holm, who was the kryptonite to Ronda Rousey all those years ago. And she's got a kickboxing style, and she's obviously a great boxer. Holly Holm has been fighting in the UFC for a while. She's a former UFC champion. But the thing is here with Kayla Harrison, Kayla's 33, Holly Holm is now 42. And Holly Holm, in her past few fights, seems to have, she's not the same as she was, doesn't have the same snap, doesn't have the same speed as like a few years ago, right? I mean, she's 42. She's been fighting for a long time. So I think it's an interesting style matchup for Kayla Harrison, but still a fight that she can win. But a very good fight. Like, I don't think it's a slam dunk that Kayla Harrison beats Holly Holm, especially in a 3-round fight. 3 rounds goes by very quickly. You lose a round, all of a sudden you got to try things. Things don't work. You're in trouble. And I think Kayla Harrison is probably going to come in as a very big favorite for that fight. But I think Holly Holm is going to be a very live underdog there. Try to get you some odds on that one. I think there's something somewhere maybe, but what do you guys think? You think Holly Holm loses to Kayla Harrison, or
I'm mostly intrigued with the weight cut for Harrison because like I was reading, so Ronda Rousey competed in judo, I think, at 159, I read, and Harrison competed at judo at 180. So that's a 21-pound difference, and she's expected to fight in the same division as Ronda Rousey did, which is 135, because we're not even talking about making it 145. At first, when they announced her, I was thinking, oh, maybe 145's coming back, but no, it's supposedly at 135. So, look, you said she did a test weight cut.
Apparently,
if it worked, then. But I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised because she's a very muscular, like there's a lot of muscle on her frame, man. So for her to go down to 135 must not be easy.
Yeah. Interesting that she's going to fight at 135 considering she's fought her whole career at 155. I think she had one fight at 145, but this is not 145. This is 135. So we'll see how that goes. But she's added to this mega card of UFC 300 that already has a women's strawweight title fight, Zhang Wei Li against Yan Zhaonan. First time that it is 2 Chinese-born fighters going one-on-one in the octagon. Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway fighting for the BMF title. Oh, my God. Is that a 5-round fight? Are they going to add a third title fight to this thing? This is going to go on till 3 a.m. This sucks. There better be some knockouts, dude. I don't want to see 3 title fights go the distance. We're going to be on forever. Ridiculous. There's a 4-hour pay-per-view on the weekend because they had 2 title fights go the distance. They got 2 title fights on UFC 300 already. Charles Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian. Alexander Rakic versus Yuri Prohaska. Calvin Kattar, Aljamain Sterling. Bo Nickel, Cody Brundage. Davison Figueiredo against Cody Garbrandt. Oof. Holly Holm against Kayla Harrison. Bobby Green against Jim Miller. Damn.
You see, Dave, you just passed on the fight that I was going to say. What is that doing on this card? Like all the whole fight card.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But how did they get there, man?
I don't know. Sodiq Yusuff and Diego Lopes. Lopez? I don't even know. I think it's Lopes.
Lopez.
Whatever. Yeah, UFC 300 looks pretty good. There's no UFC this weekend. The next UFC is UFC Vegas, Dolidze versus Imavov. That's next Saturday. So next week we'll have a UFC to preview. Roman Dolidze versus Nasruddin Imavov. That's UFC at the Apex in Vegas. And then the next UFC pay-per-view is UFC 298 in Anaheim, California. And I feel like they have more fights announced for UFC 300 than they have for UFC 298. They got Volkanovski versus Topuria, Ian Machado Gary versus Jeff Neal, Henry Cejudo versus Merab Dvalishvili, Amanda Lemos against Mackenzie Dern, AJ. How about it?
Oh, yeah.
Some good fights on that one. Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa. It's not bad. UFC 298 coming up February the 17th. Some Valentine's Day UFC.
On that card, man.
You like that? Who's on the card? Cejudo? Yeah, that's good, right? I didn't think Cejudo was going to stick around in the UFC. I thought he came back out of retirement, fought for the title, and was maybe going to walk away again. But he fought Aljamain, and now he's going to keep fighting, which is cool. 36 years old. Fighting Merab Dvalishvili, too, who's one of the top contenders at 135. If Cejudo beats him, you know, he might get a title shot against Sean O'Malley. Yep. I think he wants O'Malley.
Yeah,
right?
Big time. I mean,
Makes
there's
sense.
a little bit of bad blood between them.
Yeah. That's a big fight.
He's back, man.
That's a big fight.
It's a nice card, man.
Do you want to see Mike Tyson box Fedor in Saudi Arabia?
I mean, it's going to be the fight of, like, you know, lumpy lumps, man. It's like, look, I love Fedor, one of the greatest fighters in MMA, like, of all time.
He'll get destroyed.
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson looked pretty good against Roy Jones. Like, for some old guy, like, and Fedor would get destroyed in a boxing match against Mike Tyson.
Yeah, but there's going to be so many restrictions, and there's going to be so many, like, it's not a real fight. It's an entertainment fight, and I, you know, I mean,
I'll watch it.
Knows it's an entertainment,
but I don't need to.
But I doubt it's gonna happen. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think that fight's happening. I don't think so at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't need it.
No.
Unnecessary. There was rumors today, but I think it's all fake.
Fake news.
I mean, I could see Mike Tyson want to box. There's no doubt about it. He'll box with anybody, anytime, any place. But you know, it's different. I mean, Fedor is he's a pretty big, solid guy himself. I don't know, man. I don't see this. I don't know. Yeah, if I want to see Tyson fight, I like to see him fight another boxer, you know. And if I want to see Fedor fight, I like to see Fedor fight in an MMA fight, not in boxing, man. You know, his boxing skills are more like they're not that great, man.
I don't need to. I don't need to see him fight an MMA fight anymore. I think we're good.
No,
good.
I would. I mean, you know.
All right.
Or how about in a jiu-jitsu match or something, like a grappling match? I like to see Fedor do that. I mean,
in a Fight Pass Invitational, I think that would be pretty sweet, right? Fedor in a grappling match against like Sakuraba or something like that would be fun, right?
Oh, like old school, yeah.
Frank Mir, yeah, sure. Nogueira.
Or Marino Bustamante, man. Get up like somebody like that, man. Like from the old Pride days, man.
I'd like to see Fedor and Big Nog in a grappling match.
That'd be amazing, man. You know?
People don't talk about the Nogueira brothers enough. You know?
Man, the greatest, man.
When people talk about the legends of MMA, the Nogueira brothers are not talked about enough. Okay, before Fred disappears, into a cloud of smoke. We're going to wrap up the show. I will be here tomorrow night with Johnny North previewing WWE's Royal Rumble and discussing all the latest news in World Wrestling Entertainment, including the Vince McMahon sex trafficking lawsuit, The Rock being appointed to the board of directors of TKO, Kevin Patrick, announcer of SmackDown, being released by the company. SmackDown does not have a lead announcer. We'll find out who's behind the mic on SmackDown. I did see that Jim Ross's contract in AEW had quietly run out, and then WWE fires their lead announcer of SmackDown. I wonder, maybe a return for good old JR. I would love to see that, but who knows? So there's a lot to talk about in the world of professional wrestling that we will get to tomorrow night here on the Ringside Report Network with Wrestling Uncensored. A big shout out to all the members tuning in and representing over at join.ringsidereport.net. My man Angelo Contagonis, Lior, and
okay, got it, Lior.
Everybody else supporting the channel. We appreciate you, and we will be back here next Thursday night to preview another big UFC show, Dolidze versus Imavov. You guys got a pick for that? I got no idea. I don't know. I'm going to go with Dolidze. Early, I'm picking Dolidze. All right? Don't do research now, AJ. We'll get it next week. It's okay.
Yeah,
all right, I'll be back here tomorrow night, 10 p.m. right after SmackDown with Johnny North for Wrestling Uncensored right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again